Hello and welcome to my review for The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. I have a lot to say about this book. For those that don't know me, I'm on the autism spectrum, and this book, at least is originally portrayed as a book of someone on the autism spectrum. I first tried to read this book back in either 2003 or 2004. Someone let me borrow it when it pretty much first came out. I actually got a new copy here. The first time I read it, I stopped about 50 pages into it because on the cover, it said that this is the account of someone with Asperger's syndrome, and then here, it still has it in the book. It says, Haddon worked with autistic individuals, etc. So it was greatly implied that this story, actually pretty much on the cover, was told through someone on the autism spectrum. Then I tried reading it again a few years later, and I got pretty much as far as the last time. Because I was put, because I'm like, this is not how someone with autism thinks. But then someone said, that actually the book publisher put that on the cover, and that the author, maybe while greatly implying that was someone on the spectrum, just wanted to tell a great work of fiction. But a lot of people, like parents and stuff, and teachers recommend parents to read it to get an inside look of what it's like inside the autistic mind. Now, this time, when I read it just trying to read a work of fiction without thinking that the character had autism, though it was very hard because it was very obvious at times that this was definitely a portrayal of someone that had autism. Like on page 46, it talks about some of his behavioral problems: not talking to people for a long time, autistic behavior; not drinking anything for a long time, autistic behavior; not like being touched, autistic behavior; screaming when I'm angry or confused, autistic behavior; smashing things when I'm angry or confused; not liking yellow things or brown things, refusing to touch yellow things or brown things, OCD, kind of autistic behaviors; not eating food of different sorts of food or touching each other; not noticing that people are angry with me, not smiling; saying things other people think are rude; doing stupid things; hitting other people, hating France; driving others' cars, etc. And then there's a lot of times where it's very obviously someone with autism. But sometimes I'll tell you that this book, I read it just realizing I'm reading a book of fiction, and it's a great work of fiction. Actually, this book, it took me only a few hours to read, and there's parts where I was just really reading through it like I was kind of like, oh, I wasn't skimming through it. Well, I was just trying to keep up because it was so fascinating. It's only a couple hundred pages, and it didn't take me that long to read because it was just really good and compelling, and the plot twist is amazing. It starts off as a murder mystery where we try to find out who killed the dog, and then it just really moves along. The portrayal of autism is actually very excellent in many cases too. Sometimes the author is spot on with the autism thinking process. That it's exactly like how I think. I'm like, wow, this is exactly how I think. Like solving math problems, the autistic logic reasoning. Also, when the writer is telling like white lies or things of that nature, his reasoning logic, or if he wants to do something but he's told not to do it, how he realizes that there's a loophole. And I'm the same way too at times. Like I'll look for the loopholes that people didn't say, and I'll go around, and so he circumvents at times, and this is very autistic reasoning. But there's other times where the author's way off base with the autistic thinking process, and it's totally not how I think someone with autism would think. That's not how I would think, and I don't think how other people with autism think. But I realized that the author was trying to write a great work of fiction. The only problem is that now a lot of people have presented this book to parents and other people saying that this is what it's like inside the autistic mind. And the author himself, Mark Haddon, says, I read up a thing, where he says that this book is not intended to be a look inside an autistic person's mind. If you want to read an autistic person's mind, you should read up their memoirs or look at their works instead. So he even says, to not take his book as an inside look into the autistic perspective. But unfortunately, a lot of damage has been done, primarily due to the book publishers. I think it's partially his fault in the first place. Of course, by telling the book publishers he worked with autistic individuals and all that kind of stuff. It led to the initial cover saying that the main character has Asperger's syndrome, and it has led to a lot of parents and teachers passing this book along saying this is how people with autism think. And while as a book, it is an incredible book, one of the best books I've ever read, this unfortunate portrayal has caused me to lower my grade. I would give this book a definite A+ because it is a really great book. However, because of the damage that has been done, I'm giving it a B-. And so I ask that if you recommend this book to other people, which it is a great book, that you please tell them that it's a work of fiction and that this is not intended to be an inside look into an autistic person's mind. It does get some things right. It gets some things right to the T, to such a way that it blew my mind away, but it gets some things totally wrong that it makes me cringe if I were to not detach myself and see it as a work of fiction. So you have to keep that in mind, so please do not pass this along. I was actually at a conference a week ago, and that's exactly what happened. A teacher said to read this book as an autism portrayal, and it is not that. It is just a well-written piece of fiction, and it is really well written. So if you're looking for a good book to read this book. If you're looking for a good book with the inner perspective of someone with autism, this is not the book to read. I thank you for watching this, and I wish all of you an awesome day of awesomeness. Thank you.